Welcome back. You're watching KTN Business Day. Sorry you had to handle some quick technical hitch there, but we are now up and running.
Yeah.
Well, before we took that break, we were just about to start a conversation with Moses Muturi, who is the Managing Director for Hazard Dairy Farm, just to assess how severe has the drought affected dairy farmers. Perhaps you can just pick it up from there.
Yeah, most of agriculture in Africa is rain-fed, even most of it here in this country. So wherever there is no rain, you expect fodder goes really down. And considering the fact that most small-scale dairy farmers have got very small land or very small pieces of land,
yes,
you realize that again, with the lack of rain, they have to really suffer.
Mm-hmm. Perhaps
tell
us, how have you been affected as a dairy farmer? Have you had to spend more in buying hay, or have you had to get alternative feeds to supplement?
Obviously, most of us have stores for feeds, but we don't expect that the seasons will maybe escalate, the dry season will escalate. Wherever they escalate beyond our storage, we have to look for more options. Mm-hmm. Actually, even getting feeds from Uganda, because like in Uganda, the weather pattern were not severe like here in the country.
Sure.
So we had to, of course, use more in getting feeds, mm-hmm, whereas the milk prices still remain constant.
All right.
So we kind of go down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Moses, just hold a minute. We have online, joining us by way of phone, Ahmed Mohammed, who is a businessman and also a resident of Marsabit. Good afternoon, Ahmed. Perhaps looking at the dire situation that continues to face northern Kenya, how severe has the drought been in terms of how this has affected the herders?
Well, clearly the last few weeks or months, there's been a lot of severe famine and drought in northern Kenya, especially in Marsabit, Mandera, and so on. But the situation is actually escalating. And if there is no rain in the next few weeks, we could have a very, very dangerous situation.
And perhaps, Ahmed, do you feel the input by government, has it been effective in trying to alleviate the situation?
I mean, there is a lot of efforts, both from national and county governments, but it's not enough. And the sad bit is that this has been going for the last decade or so. Mm-hmm. And every other time there's a situation whereby leaders will say, enough is enough, this should not happen again. But it happens again. There's no mitigation, there's no measures. I understand that it's a natural calamity, but...
Okay. We seem to... All right. Well, we seem to be having a slight hitch on that line, but it will be sorted out in a short while. But coming back to you, Moses, now that the country is going through this situation, perhaps how best can we solve this drought situation in terms of trying to help the farmers, especially the livestock farmers? As you've seen, many have had to see their livestock die, and I mean, it's so devastating.
Yeah, the issue of climate change or global warming has for some years been taken very lightly. Mm-hmm. But as we go on, we are now seeing the dangers surrounding this aspect. And it's a high time now as the government to take serious precaution about it.
All right.
We've seen people die, not only animals. We've seen communities being affected, lives being changed. So it's a high time now we think about how do we get water.
Yeah.
Because the bottom line is water. We have underneath water, we can have dams, and all these policies are in place, but no one is facilitating them. So which people will be great if they don't feed themselves? So it's a high time now we run into it quickly before it really finishes community.
All right.
Yeah.
I understand we have Ahmed Mohammed back online. And Ahmed, perhaps if you to give us your remarks in terms of what is the best way forward now that already we are in this mess where the country is facing the drought situation.
I mean, there should be a remedy in place just before even something like this. I hate the people of northern Kenya especially, because even though it's a natural disaster, it's a natural calamity, there should be some mitigating circumstances in helping alleviate the situation. For example, now the county government and the national government are trying their best, even though there is a blame game, and this blame game is affecting the people on the ground. It's affecting livelihoods, it's affecting livestock and so on and so forth. So instead of the blame game, there should be a policy in place, there should be a guideline, and it should be, this thing should be stopped before it even gets to us.
And finally, before we let you go, Ahmed, of course, we've seen other mechanisms being used in different countries, including irrigation as a way towards helping the pastoral communities to have a balance. Because as we speak right now, the biggest challenge is what can the pastoral communities do so that they do not rely single-handedly on the livestock?
You know, Abi, that's a valid question. But the sad bit is that when you have famine or drought situations like this, it comes up with, for example, clan clashes start and so on and so forth. So what we need to do is for the government, both local and national government, to combine their efforts in making sure that there is enough irrigation to make sure that livestock, for example, in northern Kenya can be exported. It's a sad situation whereby livestock from northern Kenya cannot be exported, but neighboring countries like Ethiopia and Somalia can do so. So there should be efforts towards making sure that livestock farmers benefit even before a calamity like this hits.
All right. Many thanks, Ahmed Mohammed, resident of Marsabit. And we'd also like to get your parting shot, Moses. Perhaps other than having these pastoral communities rely on the livestock, what else can be done differently? What advice would you give as a dairy farmer?
In my view, I would not really run away from what they have always done.
Because that's what they are good in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we are supposed to help them do it in the best way possible. Because that is what they know. And actually in East Africa, we are yet to realize the dream we have about dairy farming or livestock keeping. It's a big thing that can contribute to our GDP here. So it's not so much about running away from it, but thinking or coming up with best way on how to do it.
All right.
Yeah.
Many thanks there, Moses Muturi, Managing Director for Hazard Dairy Farm. Just trying to dissect the drought situation in the country. And today